Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I'm your host, Gabe Peterson, and this is the place investors go to gain actionable advice, learn about current market trends, and hear war stories from other professional investors out there in the field today. Before we get started, I have two quick housekeeping items for you. First, if you like this episode, we would very much appreciate a like, subscribe, and share. It is the best way to support the show and keep it running far into the future. Second, if you're a new investor looking to get started in real estate or an experienced investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you that will cover how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance those deals with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. On top of that, I throw in an insane amount of free bonuses that you'll have access to once you buy the ebook. All I charge is our admin costs to keep this show running. So if you're serious about real estate investing and want to create both active and passive income as an investor, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com and click on the button that says get the ebook in the upper right-hand corner to grab yourself a copy. With that said, let's dive right in. Today we have a very special guest with us, ready to drop some investor knowledge on you. So buckle up, grab your pen and paper, and enjoy the ride. All right. We are back with another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we have TJ Kosen with us. Did I say that right, TJ?
Kosen.
Dang it.
No problem.
I always forget to ask how to pronounce people's names before I hop on here. But TJ comes to us from Texas. He is a wholesale master. He got started pre-crash. He is an OG real estate investor, been in there since 2006. So he has a lot of wisdom to share. TJ, thank you very much for hopping on.
Dude, Gabe, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I told you before we hopped on here, we like to start with stories. We like to hear how people got to where they are today. So why don't you take us back to 2006 and start us off on your story?
Oh, that's crazy. Well, first of all, you can't do it that way now. So for like how you're going to apply that in your own life, that's going to be a little tough. But I was doing loans in California right out of college, trying to make some money. Kind of saw like all the funny business in the residential loan side. We didn't do anything crazy.
You're in loans pre-crash. So you were like in the thick of it. Okay.
We tried to write solid loans, and I wasn't even in it that long, maybe 6 months. And I was like, I kind of want to get out of loans, want to get into real estate. Let's get on Craigslist and let's find some properties to buy. So I
got on Craigslist,
scoped the entire country, and then landed on 112 units in Memphis, Tennessee, which was actually pretty crazy. But it was
listed on Craigslist. Wow.
Listed on Craigslist from the seller. I actually became pretty good friends with the seller. Like 800 grand. So it seemed like a no-brainer. The after repaired value was close to 33 at the time, but it was distressed. It was bad. I mean, for 800 grand, it's not great. So we went out there and capitalized it, fixed it up. At the peak before the crash, we had the thing up to about 95% occupied, capitalizing about 15K a unit, 15 to 16, 17K a unit. And then, then 2008, like I like to tell people, the only thing wrong with doing real estate in 2006 is you didn't really know that 2008 was right around the corner, except for if you're just looking at the dates, but you didn't know that was going to happen. Yeah. Everyone knew it was going to soften and slow down and change. So anyway, first project was a financial kind of disaster, but in terms of the construction, the renovation, the leasing, and the management was actually a pretty good success. So that was the first deal. I don't even know I think Craigslist is still around, but I haven't been on it in years, so I don't know how that applies right now.
That's I've heard stories like that, people finding these crazy deals on Craigslist. And even when I got started, I'd comb through Craigslist and I didn't find any luck. But damn, man, that takes the cake. 116 units you said found on Craigslist?
112.
Yeah, that's
big, 7 acres. It was a massive thing. It was kind of insane.
Yeah, that's that you're at the top of the Craigslist stories right there. So so you found that unit, you renovated it. Did you sell it pre or post crash?
No, unfortunately we got out of it in 2010, I think. Somewhere around there. And cool thing about cap rates is everyone knows if you're adding value and adding rent and increasing rent and all this other good stuff, simple math is, if you got 100 units and you increase rent by $100, then you make roughly, $1.1 million or something like that. Assuming your fixed expenses stay the same. Problem is, if you got to now drop, your rents by $100 in order to stay occupied because your submarket is a little oversaturated, and because 2008 is doing 2008 stuff, then you can lose $1 million in like the same kind of metric. No one talks about the negative math. So we were the unfortunate recipients of, I think, about 25% decrease in market rent and about a 20% decrease in economic occupancy potential. So that was a bummer. But fortunately lived to kind of fight another day and kept going.
That is the everybody in real estate, we go through the hard times, we go through the dips, especially 2008. That is an exceptional dip. But we can always live to fight another day. And you did that. You are still in real estate, which means you've got the fighting spirit. Once you sold that 2008 for a little bit of a loss, you took the punch on the chin. What happened next?
I went back to San Diego and I surfed for like
It's
about
reasonable.
a year.
Yeah, get rid of that stress.
Yeah, spent a lot of time at the beach. No, kind of rebuilt. It was definitely a shock because at like 24, I thought I was killing it, and then at like 27, 8, man, I'm thinking I'm getting kicked in the tail left and right. So it was definitely a transition, and it was also a transition into the single family space. So I started doing houses out there because I wanted to make money. Like, well, I just learned all this stuff about real estate. Let's now apply that to houses. Uh, Houses and apartments are very different. Apartments, you're doing 112 doors that all look the same, and base trim that looks the same, and carpet that looks the same. Houses are a little different. Let's look at the neighborhood. Let's see what we want to do to repair to match the neighborhood, to affect the price point, to do this. So it was definitely a mindset shift in terms of a single product focus. And then probably the next mindset shift after that was when I moved out to Dallas and really took that from a kind of one or two transaction at a time kind of deal to, okay, now we got that pretty good. Let's build a business, and let's actually ramp up and hire some guys and like turn this into a thing instead of just a hustle. And that was, another good stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. So why did you choose? Everybody generally starts out in single family and then they go to multifamily because they want to scale faster. They want those big numbers to come at them quicker. You went the opposite. Why did you decide to go from multifamily to single family?
So partially I was burned out, just burned out, haven't done it. It's like, I understand the upside, I understand there's a good market opportunity, probably 2015, 2016, 17, somewhere in there. Just wasn't in the right mental space to do it. I like the transactional nature of the residential space. I liked the big paychecks. I liked the easy scalability of the business side of it, because that was always what I liked about the actual apartments. I like the business side a lot more than the actual product itself. I like to say I'm agnostic about the products that we're doing.
Gotcha.
So I enjoyed scaling that part of the business, and then be able to take myself away from the actual real estate side of it more. So that's kind of the short answer of it, I think.
Yep.
And we like the liquidity. Multiple exit strategy on houses is better in a recession. Now, if things were always going up, then I probably missed out on a lot of gains on the commercial side, but we made a ton of money on the residential side, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Hey, if you get good at whatever you choose to focus on, then you're going to make money. That's just how it works. It doesn't matter if it's single family, multifamily, self-storage, industrial. There's money to be had in every asset. You just got to find what you want.
Oh, for sure.
So before, I want to ask about wholesaling, because that is your bread and butter. That's what you're a master at. But before we go there, there is a lot of talk about going into a future recession. Well, we are in a recession, but going into something that's much deeper, that looks similar to, the 2008 crash. You went through it, you got out the other side. So what advice, or what do you see in the market? And then what advice do you have for people to prepare as we're going into this dip?
Yeah, definitely. So our business is probably 20% wholesale, and then the rest of it is split between rental, wholetail, and flips. So we kind of have a pulse on a lot of the different pieces of the market. Short story is, I think what we're going to see is low inventory and lower retail demand for product than what we're accustomed to. And that's a really weird thing that doesn't generally happen in a marketplace. But we're going to see low retail inventory for a simple reason. If I, for example, have a house that's worth $500,000 and I want to go move to a house that's worth $1.2 million, do I want to quadruple my payment by doing that when I would have doubled it before? I'm not sure. So, or maybe I'm going to keep my house. So now it's going to be one house that's not in the retail market, and I'm going to buy this other house over here. So I think there's going to be a lot of that on the retail side. Obviously, affordability definitely hits the retail like demand sector. So even in our business, we're seeing a lot more FHA, first time home buyers,
Mm.
stepping into the marketplace where they're having to pick a price point that was lower than maybe they wanted to, but they were getting overbid and overshot for the past 2 to 3 years. We haven't had an FHA probably contract in a couple of years, really. I mean, we've had obviously offers, but we just haven't taken one because we're paying in the butt to deal with.
Hmm.
And we're seeing a lot more of the FHA side. So I think that's what we're going to see in terms of pricing correction or pricing adjustments. We've already seen. I like to say it's like any kind of stock market or any kind of market. We've had a blow off in price where prices just shot up too much,
Yeah.
and we're having a cooling effect. We're not having a crash, but we're having places where in our market in North Texas, we saw a peak in March and April, 100% of what things were selling for, and we saw it coming about December ish. It's like, hey, they're going to start raising rates. They're going to start having pressure on the market. Let's sell all of our risky flips, all of our big things going on. Let's sell that by like March, April, and we got out of everything that was kind of risky by about May. We got different risky shit now, but we bought it really, really well, so that doesn't matter. But we had this blow off effect, and now we're having a cooling down. And it doesn't mean that the blow off price was actually legit. It means that like one or two dudes were willing to pay that much for the product, and we were able to sell it. And the appraisers kind of didn't care because they had like the 2 or 3 comps to justify that price. But was that the actual marketplace value for that product? I don't think so. So I think what we're going to see over the next 12 to 18 months is more cooling and more softening. We can't see a 2008 level crash because there's not as much free and stupid money in the marketplace on the retail side as there was in 08. There's
Mm.
free and stupid money working into the investor side now, but that's very early on in the market cycle. I don't think it's going to cycle out for actually quite a while. Now, the
Gotcha.
crash maybe 7 years from now, come and talk to me in 7 years because that one might be a lot more fun for real estate. That being said, if the world ends, if Russia invades Ukraine and all this other stuff, if there's a black swan event, it'll affect real estate. But real estate, I don't think is going to be the catalyst for what's happening in the market. That being said, the market's a red day today, and it's been red it's 20% down this year, but real estate is not 20% down.
Yep. Yep. I see all the charts on your screen, and the reason
Yeah,
this
we
is
track
top
that
of
stuff.
mind for me right now is we're actually selling 2 of our RV mobile home parks,
Nice.
and the rates just keep going up, and so it makes less and less sense for the buyers. I think it went up to, what was it, 575 yesterday for the rate, and
I
it's
think so.
just when is that going to end? And actually, I told that story, I think it was to my mom or dad, I can't remember who I was talking with, but it was my dad, and he said that when he bought his house, he
Mhm.
had to get an 18% loan, and I
Oh,
was like, oh my
1979 to 81.
god.
That's when my parents bought. They bought and they did a partial loan assumption, and they had like a 15 to 16% loan way back in the day. They still own that house. It's worth 1.2 now, and they bought it for 80. So they're doing all right.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but even if you watch pricing, what happens when rates raise overall historically in the 70s and 80s when we had a lot of inflation, real estate prices still went up, which is kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
You would think affordability ought to cause negative pressure on the pricing, and it does to a certain extent. But if we have inflation, the assets that tend to inflate are the assets that are like tangible and quantifiable.
Yep. Yep, I am always bullish on real estate as a whole, because it's physical and everybody needs it. So I
For
don't
sure.
think it is always going to be a solid investment if you run your numbers right. All right, let's move on. You said you like to talk, or you like to build businesses. That's what you really enjoy. So let's talk about how you built your wholetail flip business. And I guess we can just start from the beginning. It always starts with finding deals. What is the best way that you guys go about marketing and finding those deals?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to say every marketing channel works, but every marketing channel has a high probability of failure if you A, do it wrong, and B, do too many different things, try to be a master too many different things.
Oh man,
So
preaching to the choir here. I've done that myself for sure.
I spent a ton of money messing it up. We are heavy in PPC.
Okay.
We have been for about 5 years. So we're probably one of the best in the North Texas market in PPC from a
Hmm.
strictly cost per lead and cost per contract perspective. That being said, we're also pretty good at negotiating the deals too. So your lead source is only as good as your follow up and your acquisitions team. And that's always in flux because it's very people oriented, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So that's our main one. We do a lot of referrals. Last year we did a ton of cold calling. Probably spent multiple 6 figures on cold calling, but paid off but only had about a 4 to 5 time X payoff for cold calling. So like, we didn't really enjoy it that much.
Yeah.
And so we doubled down on PPC and are really hitting it hard. We're also pretty, we do some networking, and we're pretty well known, I guess, in our little sub market. So we do a lot of events and fun stuff. So people send us deals. We help mentor and coach a lot of newbie wholesalers, and we'll JV with them, or we'll buy a deal from them, or whatever it is. So I would say that's actually probably almost 20% of our business right now. PPC is probably about 50 to 60.
Okay.
So another 20% is still do some light cold calling, still do some very targeted mailers. But those are the two big profit motive like drivers.
Nice. Yeah,
That answer your
PPC,
question?
especially for residential, it's a very effective tool to use. It's also a very easy it's easy to lose money in
Oh,
PPC. If you don't know what
100%.
you're doing, you can sink a pretty penny in there for sure.
And we try different stuff with PPC all the time. I like to say it usually costs us about $5,000 to try something, and
Mm.
about 20 grand to figure out if it's working. And that's very frustrating.
Yeah, for sure. I actually I don't want to get too much on a tangent here, but I just started up a new PPC campaign for my self-storage facilities that we just bought out in Indiana.
Nice.
And I have been debating with myself whether the images for display ads, whether it's better to have text or just to have a flat image with a picture. What is your opinion on that one?
We get such little traffic with the display ads. I don't think I keep too much track of it. We
Oh,
do
interesting.
pictures with text on the pictures, I think, but we get very little traffic on the display ads with our PPC.
Hmm.
And we've had several conversions, but nothing. I'm not even sure if we got a deal from it, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we're
We should test
hardcore.
search.
We shoot for top 3. We don't like being top 1 because it's too expensive. We like number 2 to 3 kind of positioning, and we just kind of roll with it. Adjust the spend, adjust the negative keywords, all that good stuff. I'd have to look and see how well we do with the display because I don't really track it that much.
Huh, that's interesting. All right, so moving back to the original discussion, you do PPC is your main bread and butter for finding the deal. You mentioned that you have different strategies for acquiring the deal. You do wholesales, you buy rentals, you
Yeah,
flips,
absolutely.
and wholetails. I'm not familiar with wholetail. I mean, I've heard, I've had it heard in conversation, but I've never actually done a wholetail. What is a wholetail?
So for us, it depends. I coined the term no rehab flip. So for us anyway, wholesale is always closing on the property and buying the property. Now we have control of it. And on the exit strategy side, it's less than a full flip. And then what we like to do is we like to pick where the comps are for the property, what's going on in the subdivision or the sub market, and then repair the property to fit a price point that makes sense. So what we found actually with this market kind of blow off top that I've been talking about is the actual full on flips are selling. They're actually driving up the grandma, mom and dad home seller prices, which is kind of weird. I didn't expect it, but that's definitely what's happening. Whereas the flips are kind of like sitting around a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
So for the right property and the right market, we like dusting it off. We like taking out the trash. We like doing a lot of lease backs. It gives us a competitive edge when we go to
Okay.
negotiate a purchase. The sellers have their money; they can go do whatever they want to with it. Eviction laws are fairly favorable in Texas, so we know we have that as a manageable risk on that side. We're not afraid of doing that. And then we get control of the property, clean it up, make it. Ideally, we're targeting a conventional home buyer because they're going to be a homeowner that wants to live there, that wants to have some sweat equity, and we're shooting for less than full ARV on the property for a price point. That way, if we're right, then we get our number. If we're wrong, we still get offers, so we know where the market actually is. And if we're wrong the other direction, we can get bid up a little bit.
Hmm.
And we generally if we're targeting a conventional buyer, we're going to fix the HVAC, we're going to fix the carpet, and in Texas, foundation issues all over the place. We'll
Hmm.
fix the foundation generally. If we're targeting a different type of buyer, if we have busted toilets, busted windows, crappy subfloor, holes in the walls, we're going to target obviously a different kind of buyer. It's not going to go conventional. We have to buy it deeper to make it make sense. If we're going to wholesale it, we might even flip that property. It depends. But now we're pricing it at a different level, and that buyer is going to pay a different spread from full ARV than the conventional buyer. And there's kind of two buyer levels in the middle between the flipper buyer and the conventional buyer. We have like investor buyers that want maybe cash flow with some equity, but they want to do some stuff, and they're going to pay a little bit less than conventional. And then we've actually been offering a lot of seller financing where we offer the seller financing with 20% down, favorable terms. We hold the note, either collect the cash flow or we sell the note to one of our like actually rich friends, and they just warehouse the note. And that's given us actually a huge edge in this marketplace because now we're catering to a buyer that's maybe less than conventional, still qualified for the income, but doesn't care about their credit, so they don't have any. And then we're collecting 20% down and still selling for less than full ARV and collecting a nice piece on it. So that's kind of the 4 levels of wholetails that we do. It's a little more finesse. There's a lot of ways to mess it up because if you don't have comps override everything. So if you don't have comps for grandma's house that sold for this, that looks like your house, then you're playing a guessing game. But if you have those comps and the numbers work, you shoot it out there and it works.
That is really interesting. And comps comps are pretty much the reason why I didn't stay in residential, because it scares me. Commercial is so numbers. It's NOI, it's market, market growth. I can pull reports, I can look at P&Ls, and that's pretty much what you're looking at. But with residential, it is, a person's taste comes into play, and that's what is always kind of made me nervous. But I mean, obviously, people like you.
That was my biggest problem transitioning from apartments and commercial into residential, was that personal touch to it. Now, fortunately, I'm a really sensitive guy, so I understand their emotions. I can really get in tune with them. I'm a sensitive guy, so it works out. But yeah, it's definitely a huge stretch. It was a huge stretch for me when I did it.
Yep. That's also interesting. I just wrote down here, foundational issues are a common thing in Texas. Is it specific to Texas?
Oh my God, yeah. I don't know. I don't do stuff in a lot of other markets, but yeah, foundations out here are whack. So North Texas has what we call it expansive clay. We also get a lot of rain, but really hot as heck summers. We just had, I don't know, almost 2 months of no rain and 100 degrees ish. So expansive clay, when it gets wet, it expands because it just saturates and sits there. And what that'll do is it'll raise stuff up. The summertime, it'll get really, really dry and it'll contract. If you don't water your grass, you'll actually get like little mini cracks and crap in your front yard if if it gets that dry. So that does, obviously, over time, it raises and lowers the dirt level around your house. And if you do that enough, what it'll do is it'll make the foundation settle down. So we dig under the foundation line, drive posts down to basically as far as they can go. You just drive them down until they don't go any farther, and then use the ground pressure to raise the house up to level again. And then you put little metal shims in at the top to get it, right there. And then that's it. It's easy. It's big business, but it's a little specific out here.
Yeah, you make
at least in my experience.
You make it sound so easy.
Well, I'm not digging holes.
Right on, man. Well, hey, I just took a peek at the clock. We have gone through our time, so it is time to jump into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Awesome. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Starts with books. I'm a big bookie, so give me 2 recommendations, 1 for general life wisdom and 1 for real estate specific.
Let's say I haven't read a real estate book in probably 7 or 8 years, so that's going to be tough.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's always the safe one.
That's the safe one, right? I guess I'll just pick something up here. I read a lot of biographies. I read a lot of history.
Oh, nice.
Got a degree in history back in the day. My favorite biography is actually by, I think his name's Ian Mortimer. I read it about 6 years ago. It's about King Edward III in England. He was an absolute badass. He's the grandson of the bad king from Braveheart, who actually wasn't that bad a guy, but if you're Scottish, maybe he's not so good. And I thought I like looking at history from a lens of what was important in their time and how did they really do it. Other thing I love about biographies is everyone dies in the end, which is really kind of cool because now, since they're dead, we can look back and say like, okay, how do they actually affect what happened after him? So that's it. In terms of real estate, shit, dude, I don't know. I honestly haven't read a real estate book in years. I like this book.
That's fair.
$100 Million Offer by Alex Hormozi. It's actually cool.
You are the second person, and I actually just bought it myself. The second person to recommend that. So
it's a good book for business. It's very good.
Perfect. And that's funny you say. I mean, you sounds like you got a degree in history, so you already got that background. But can I ask how old you are? Are you in your 30s?
41. I appreciate
41. You're just out of your 30s. So me and my friends, we have this theory that once guys get into their 30s, they just really get interested in history, and it's happened to me. I'm 36, so I'm midway through, but I have just been so interested in like history books. I've been reading World War One, World War Two books.
Some awesome stuff.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but Edward III, that sounds pretty interesting. I'll have to pick that one up. All right, moving on. This next question is for your younger self. So if you could go back to the TJ who had zero experience in real estate, let's say he was just getting into insurance back before the crash, go to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
Yeah, buy Bitcoin. Screw the real
That
estate
would be a
advice.
good one.
Yeah, there's nothing I can change because what you learn from going through all that crap is what forms who you are. And as long as you're happy with who you are, then there's really nothing to change. I would say, you know what I actually would say though, don't stress and don't worry about it because it doesn't matter.
Yep.
And I
That
don't
is
think I'd understand what I was talking about.
that is great advice. All right, moving on. This next one is oops, I lost my spot again. What do you know? All right. So the United States, it's a big place. A lot of opportunity out there, a lot of square miles. Give me one metro that you are most excited about and investing in today.
Dude, Dallas is still awesome. What are you talking about? For long-term
Dallas.
growth, North Texas, Dallas is the best place in the country, probably the best place in the world to invest. That's why I moved here 8 years ago. I love it. That being said, it's also full. So if you're thinking about coming out here, it's already full. Stay out. Goodbye. No, I love North Texas. There's some other good cash flow markets that we look at and we play in, but we still love just the fundamentals of this market. I don't think it's overvalued. I don't think it's too expensive for homeowners. I think it's still got a lot of economic stability, which is very important.
Not going to argue with that one at all. We're actually closing on a it's not Dallas, but we're closing on a self storage out in Lubbock right now. I
Nice.
just like all those big markets out there. All right, that moves us to the next question, and this is your Superman strength. We are all gifted with strengths that we uniquely give to this world. So, what is your Superman strength?
Superman strength. I learned how to walk twice. That was kind of cool. I broke my back years ago and had to go through like
Ooh,
rehab and learn how to walk again. That was pretty cool.
wow,
Uh, yeah.
that's pretty unique. How did you? How do you mind if I ask? How'd you break your back?
I fell while rock climbing. Kind of fun. Landed
Ooh.
right here and like blew the stuff up. So I was in the hospital
Oh,
for a while. Had to learn how to walk, and I don't know how that helps other people, but it definitely changed for me. It helped change my mindset from really focusing on attacking a acute single problem and learning how to overcome a single problem, kind of one at a time. And then it helped really with the business growth because then we're really good at identifying what is one problem that's causing us the most operational drag or headache, and then how do we attack that one problem, and then what is that fixed downline that we now don't have to even worry about, or now what do we have to address that's maybe one step farther removed from the fundamental problem. So that's what we tell people is focus on what's causing you the most headache, the most drag, the most issues, and the rest of the stuff, yeah, matters, but you don't even know how much it matters until you fix your main anchor.
yep. I second that one too. Focus on the one problem that is in front of you that will make the most impact on your business. That is great advice. And that leads us to the next question. None of us are islands. We all stand on the shoulders of giants. So, what is one mentor that most affected your career? Who is? Sorry, not what.
It's hard to pick out a singular one. I think I've had actually, ironically, some really good contractor friends
Okay.
that were probably 20, 25 years older than me that really give advice on dealing with employees and dealing with project management that actually really affected me in a positive way. There's two that I can think of, one in Memphis and actually one in Dallas that were very good. Real estate mentors, I've never actually had one. So there's not one of those.
Hey,
To go back in time, I would probably say, hey, find someone that you can follow and do better by that. But people management and employee management and subcontractor and project management have been the biggest like drivers to I think this success.
and I have a problem dealing with just subcontractors. So being a general contractor, I'm sure they have so much
Mm.
skill when it comes to building teams. That moves us to the next question. This is tools. Tools form the backbone of every business. So, what is one tool that you could not live without?
Let's be honest. Come on. What,
The
what else are we gonna
phone,
do? I
of
hate this thing.
course.
I absolutely hate it. But whatever. I
Yeah,
don't think I could do this business without it.
yeah.
I don't even have a laptop. When I travel, I take a phone. I don't even take a laptop.
It's a love hate relationship for
It
sure.
really is.
But they are super useful. There's no denying that. All right, that leaves us to the very last question. You've given us a lot of good advice. I'm sure people want to reach out, say hi. What is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me TJ Kosen on Facebook or Instagram. Not a problem. website, tjkosen.com. We're kind of building it out, so it's a little infancy right now. And our kind of company portfolio site is reiaf.com. Super easy to find, all over the internet, like pretty active out there.
Perfect. I will put that link in the show notes, reiaf.com. So if you guys want to get in contact with TJ, just go ahead and click a little more in the description. It'll pull down the full description, blah, blah, blah. And in there, you can find TJ's URL. So TJ, that does wrap it up. Thank you very much for hopping on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. For everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe at the realestateinvestingclub.com. Other than that, I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode as much as I enjoyed putting it on, and we're able to pull some actionable advice that you can apply in your own investing today in the field. Before you go, we have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your investing to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you, available on our website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find deals that are actually deals, how to finance a deal with little to no money down, and how to exit those deals for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I am throwing in a bundle of bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. The first one will be the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating wealth in real estate. The second bonus is the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools, systems, and even the vendors we use to see the success that we do. And the third bonus is the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target motivated sellers online using PPC ads. The fourth bonus is our contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all the contracts we use in the field to execute all different types of transactions. After that is the Investors Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. This is a lot of bonuses that I said. I'm just going to keep going down the list. Number 6 is the Investors Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And the last bonus is the Wholesalers template for quick assignment cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. Whew, that is a bundle. So it's a mouthful. You get all of those bonuses for free when you download the ebook. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you're interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page to take advantage of that deal. And with that said, I hope you have a fantastic day, an even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.